kind of started assembling some Space Marines here. The idea was this summer we're going to do a 40K Battleforce challenge. And although I'm cheating a little bit, not exactly using a Battleforce, I'm using a bunch of Space Marine miniatures that I had sitting around from various, I don't know, purchases, I guess. I plan on painting these up as Dark Angels, and not too up on the 40K lore, so I don't really know like what the good way to assemble them is. But pretty standard squad. This is 10 Space Marines. There's a sergeant, a guy with a missile launcher, and a guy with a flamer. I think that's a pretty standard setup for a lot of TAC squads. I started applying some basing a little bit here. I plan on using, it's not very clear, I plan on using kind of an ash waste theme. I need to go to the store tomorrow and get some heavier gravel. All I have left right now is this real fine that's actually a Vallejo, what's it called, lava pumice. I've been trying it out lately on some of my Skaven models, and I like it. It's kind of a finer texture than the sand that I usually use, which, for better or for worse, I've had to paint it a little differently than the sand to make the colors come out right. I had to use a third layer of highlights instead of just the normal two, but it's coming out good. So, moving on with my Dark Angels here. Oh, also, I don't really plan on painting squad markings yet because I'm not quite sure how that all works in the 40K universe. So I figure I can paint them up as flat Dark Angels first, and then go from there to deciding how I want to do squad markings and whatnot. So I have a Rhino here, which I got secondhand, so I didn't have to assemble it, which, again, cheating a little bit. But it also means I didn't get to choose what goes on it. I think a normal Rhino has an option for a different gun, but this just has this, what is that, a storm bolter or something. I did glue the door shut. I'm not a huge fan of moving parts on models. I just think that they tend to chip paint and break and stuff, so for my purposes, that's going to be good enough. Also have here a Dreadnought. This was a battle for Skull Reach, Macragge. I don't know, one of my friends calls them all Macragge Marines. So this was a Macragge Dreadnought, which I somehow had a Dreadnought las cannon lying around, so I, with a small modification, was able to fit it on to this frame here. Unfortunately, this frame doesn't allow for a lot of customization because you really don't get most of the bits, so it is what it is. I'll put some basing on that. And then here I have my Captain, which is a Space Marine Captain in Terminator armor. I gave him a little bit of a scenic base there with some rocks. There'll be rocks that's made out of cork, thin sheets of cork board. It's pretty easy to cut up and work with, so that works well. And I also had to make a small modification on the back because he came with a banner pole, and I hate banner poles, so I sculpted in the part of the armor that had the hole before. And he's pretty straightforward. Drilled out the barrels on his storm bolter. And then one last item here that I have ready is I have a squad of Deathwing Terminators. The sergeant is just a sergeant. These guys, I have a few more of these that I did. I sculpted robes onto the Terminators. They kind of have a I don't know what to call it really. It's a robe from the waist down. Kind of an experiment in sculpting more than anything else. They came out okay. This was probably one of the first things I ever sculpted, actually. I did these a little while ago. And I tried to get some flow into them and make sure that the material was even. I had a problem with fingerprints, which I don't really know exactly what I'm going to do about. Maybe in the future I'll have to try a different technique. But they came out okay. I gave them some purity seals and whatnot and painted them, or primed them with a bone color primer. So they should be pretty easy to start up as Deathwing. And there you go. That's the start to the Dark Angels.